Hey guys, welcome back. Day 60 post-surgery update here. So first of all, we did do a weigh-in today, had a nice loss. It was 1.8 pounds. We're like 3 pounds away from that first goal. Super excited to share that one with you guys. Now, I forgot to mention this on yesterday's call, so I figured I'd go over it today. So I had a call, like a group call yesterday with the kinesiologist, which is basically like the people that make sure that we're moving the way we're supposed to be, and they give us our guidelines and all that good stuff. So one of the takeaways that I got from that call was just how much movement we're supposed to be doing at this point and at this stage. So like right now, for example, the expectation for movement is to be working back towards that 10,000 steps. Like coming out of surgery, obviously they're not expecting that you're moving 10,000 steps a day. However, the goal is to work back up towards that. So yeah, right now I'm supposed to be at about 10,000 steps a day. I didn't realize at like the 4 to 6 week mark I was actually able to start working back towards that. So I've been kind of working on that over the last like 2 weeks and just getting like 8,000 and that kind of stuff. So I'm working back towards it. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. Another thing he brought up was the activity. So again, I didn't realize because a lot of my activity was more walking. So when I was like looking at the paperwork, like I didn't realize this was like, because they told me no weights and all that kind of stuff. So I thought like we weren't really supposed to be doing anything other than walking for like the first 8 weeks, because they say like, you know, basically you're not supposed to work, you're not supposed to lift anything heavy for 6 to 8 weeks. So that was my understanding. Now, I don't know that I was 100% wrong on some of it, but I definitely had some misinformation, because my little guide does say like 2 to 4 weeks, 60 to 90 minutes of exercise per week, yada, 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 yada. So anyways, as of right now where I'm at, I'm supposed to have between 150 and 300 minutes of activity a week, which for the most part, like I've been mostly doing walking, which no problem, I hit that. I get like 40-minute walks in when I do get my walks, which is usually like 4 or 5 days a week. So that's not even an issue for me. But I want to start implementing more of like a physical workout, even more so than just walking. And one of the good takeaways that I got from that, and so for you guys that are sitting there like, oh, like how do I do, you know, maybe I want to do a weight training workout or do some rowing or do some biking, and it doesn't count as steps. So now I still have to get the 10,000 steps. Like one thing that I learned from this course, and it's probably the biggest takeaway I got, because the rest of it was kind of like, but the biggest takeaway that I got is that he said, don't stress about the steps if you're getting the activity. And the reason being is exactly that. I mean, you might go swimming, you might go biking, you might go, and you might not get the steps in because of it. And the goal is not to stress about the steps as much as it's to get the activity. And the other thing is to make sure that your activity time is like some of that is spent in your moderate range, where like it's a little bit harder to breathe when you talk versus when you're just kind of walking and having no problem holding a conversation. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing that really stood out to me, and I mean, I already kind of knew this, but he brought it up and it made me chuckle, and I joked with my husband about it, was shoveling. So like obviously right now it's April, like summer's pretty much here. We should not have to worry about shoveling, at least not any more heavy snow for the rest of the year till the fall or till the winter. But he did mention that shoveling is like one of the hardest physical activities that you can do, just because of how labor intensive it is, from pushing the snow to lifting the snow, right? It's not an easy task. And this was why something like when I went for my surgery in February, I'm like, this is gonna suck, because I like to keep my driveway pristine, meaning like no snow left behind. And my husband and I kind of share that responsibility, just depending on who's home first and who has time and this and that. So I knew that was going to be tricky, because him going into it, having to do it all by himself, with having to do a lot of other things all by himself, that stressed me out. But luckily we didn't get too much snow. Like that was really heavy, really bad after my surgery, but I definitely felt bad. So needless to say, guys, don't be expecting to shovel any snow if you're getting surgery in the winter, because you're not going to be able to do that right away. Another thing he mentioned that stood out a little bit to me was that when you're working out post-surgery, breathing is really important, because you don't want to put excess pressure on your stomach and then not breathe. You can cause a lot of complications. So make sure when you're working out whatever it is you're doing, just make sure you're breathing and taking in deep breaths and all that good stuff. Make sure you're following proper breathing etiquette when you're doing your workout. So something that just stood out to me, and I totally forgot that we had this call on Friday. My brain just went. So anyways, that's it for this one, guys. I appreciate you watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and catch the next one. Until then, bye, guys.